Hello and welcome to, I'm going to say late afternoon, but it all depends where you are, isn't it? For me, it's late afternoon. For you, it could be morning. It could be the end of the day. I don't know, but welcome to Simon's Pro Wrestling Show on a Tuesday. Usually we smash these out at 1 p.m. BST, but I had to be out in London today at that time, so I thought, you know what, I'd get in around 5:30. I'll put some rice in my face, I'll put some chicken in my face, and then I'll come on to the magic of YouTube. So I might get a cough I haven't had all day. It's got to be to do with me talking, right? Obviously, my throat is still a little bit sore. And I'll be like, we will have a chat. Why am I? It's just started. I'm just off center. Let's rearrange that. Also wearing a green top, I've realized, but somehow getting away with it. So that is fine. But yes, thank you very much for joining me. Again, I think it's actually quite a good week for wrestling so far, but let's call it a quiet week just because next week things are going to get absolutely crazy. They're going to explode. We're entering new waters. You know, when we do ups and downs tomorrow, Wednesday morning, 2 p.m. BST, I should say, that's the last, for now anyway, that is the last SmackDown we'll do on a Wednesday for some time. That shifts to Saturday. AEW is going to be Thursday. Going to have NXT on Thursday as well. I'm not doing that, but still, it's going to be mad. It's going to be absolutely crazy, but a decent episode of Raw, I thought. Shout out to Nick C in the super chat. Gets right in there and says, going live during my lunch break. Perfect timing. I do it for you, Nick. I do it for you. And of course, yeah, let's get the housework out the way. Simon Miller 316 on Instagram, on Twitter. You can support me on patreon.com/Simon 316. If you are watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description below. If you are listening on audio, you can just, actually, if you go into your description, it should be in there, or you can just go to the website. Again, that's how I support financially all these projects, hence why I can get in from a day of doing a bunch of nonsense. Wasn't nonsense. Doing a bunch of nonsense, come in and manage able to do this. You can smash something in the super chat, little $ right there to your right, or you can support me on Patreon, or you can just chill out and subscribe. That's everything you can do. You don't want to put any money down, just please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Or if you want a t-shirt, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. Let's move on from that and shout out Michael Jensen in the super chat and says, hello Simon, hope you are feeling better. I am feeling better. I don't know what's wrong with my throat. I'm going to assume my throat has never properly healed, but unfortunately for me, in this instance, usually brilliant, my job is basically, talking. So it's not like I can ever rest my voice. But hey-ho, we'll move on. But yeah, I thought Raw, given that this is the end of the season for Raw, take 6 days off and then we get back to it like all TV shows does. I thought it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed myself. Again, usually what we do is 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. we have a chat, and then we all go over to ups and downs at 2 p.m. We can't do that, so make sure either when you're done here or at some point today, you go over to What Culture Wrestling, subscribe to the channel, What Culture WWE, What Culture Wrestling, I should say, and watch ups and downs. I quite enjoyed myself today, was feeling in a good mood, so you can get my in-depth thoughts there, and you get my in-depth thought here, but obviously we do it in different ways. But the real takeaway, I didn't want to talk about Bray Wyatt or The Fiend this episode. I hope there was going to be something else I could latch on to. And I guess we could have talked about Bobby Roode Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. But that ties into The Fiend as well. And that's the whole point of the title of this episode. You can look at multiple threads that are now running through World Wrestling Entertainment. And all of them feature Bray Wyatt, all of them feature The Fiend. And can you imagine if I had told you that, say, a year and a half ago, when Bray Wyatt was dressing up as drag? I think it was a couple of years ago. Or even when the Firefly Funhouse skit started in April. Did we ever think we'd get towards the end of 2019? And, the guy who would be all over the television product was Bray Wyatt, was The Fiend. I think it's incredible. What a turnaround. And what a sort of, leap of faith we should now be able to take when it does come to whoever your favorite wrestler is. Maybe it's Rusev, maybe it's Cesaro, maybe it's Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, I don't know. I'm not saying it is going to happen to them, but it goes to show that somebody comes up with the right idea and the WWE machine gets behind them. You can take over, NWO style. And I thought it was great too. I have come away with some worries. I mean, from a purely reactionary and ups and downs point of view, I thought this main event, the last segment of Raw was fantastic. Obviously, Braun Strowman versus Seth Rollins, main event, non-title. Braun's got Seth up to do the running power slam. Lights go out, and we get all the Bray Wyatt stuff. Now, my big worry about all of this is what we do at Hell in a Cell. To me, and loads of people disagree, and that's fine. That's what life is all about. So many people have been like, Bray Wyatt can't just destroy everybody on the roster because that makes your roster look like crap. And I'm like, well, actually, no, I think he can because that's something we haven't done for a while. I think it actually may make the roster more interesting. But we have now brought Braun Strowman into this rivalry. And if you don't think we have, go and check out Braun Strowman's Twitter. It's a thing, and all of a sudden, alarm bells started ringing. So if you haven't seen it, Bray Wyatt comes in, interrupts the match, puts the mandible claw on Braun Strowman twice. He goes down, stares out Seth Rollins, fade to black. Television show over. Then on Twitter, Braun Strowman's getting mad. Obviously, Seth Rollins, his story arc at the moment is that he's scared of Bray Wyatt, but he knows he hopes he can overcome. However, even if we are putting them in a Hell in a Cell, which we are, which is designed to keep people out, somebody that could definitely break into something like that is Braun Strowman. So now I have this horrible vision of getting to the main event of Hell in a Cell and it just being a complete write-off as Braun Strowman gets his revenge. And I don't think that's going to help anybody. In fact, I'm so worried about it that I think if we don't just pull the trigger on Bray Wyatt and prove to fans like you, like me, like little Sarah down the road, like Big John, who lives in Australia, without putting all our weight behind Bray Wyatt right now when he has such an organic reaction and such people were booing Seth Rollins in his opening promo because we're all behind Bray Wyatt. Forget if he's a face or heel, I don't care. People like the character. And I think the reason that people like the character, just notice that my green shirt is invisible. Something to laugh at. Yeah, I think one of the reasons that people do enjoy this character is because it has grown, it's been long-term, and we've been able to enjoy it the more and more it's gone along. If we just stick to the status quo after building all of that, I can totally see some people going, WWE ain't going to change. WWE's the same old, same old. What is even the point? And I think that's the worst thing. And just for what? To protect Seth Rollins? To protect Braun Strowman? These two people don't need to be protected. I've seen Braun Strowman lose. I've seen Seth Rollins lose. The Fiend needs to get up into that category, and the only way you can do that is by ensuring he absolutely wallops Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully somebody just presented with me with a somewhat negative scenario, and I latched onto it a little bit much. I really am transparent as well. I could probably change that, but I don't want to muck around with the settings. It's not worth it. Do I have anything I can put in front of me? Nope, just screwed up. That's why you should never go out and come in and just do a show without thinking about it. Shout out to Michael Jensen in the super chat who says Raw had to step up their game with Monday Night Football coming back to take even more ratings away. Well, that is true, but my worry with that is I don't want WWE to do bad ratings and decide the show must have been bad. I don't necessarily think those two things correlate because, as you've just said, the NFL does take a huge part of the audience away. I think they need to stay the course. I think that Paul Heyman probably has far more influence on this than he has done for a while. I think the show is better. I think it has consistency. Again, we've got these multiple threads that overlap. The Fiend is being pushed. But we need to have resolutions and we need to have consequences. And we can only do that by sticking the course and not jumping around. But I know, obviously I'll carry on watching regardless, but I know from a purely fan point of view, if I take my critic hat off, jeez. If the Fiend doesn't win the Universal Championship, I feel a little bit like down. Irony. But I would feel a bit down on the product and feel like WWE just doesn't. No, they don't get it. That's a bit extreme. But that sticking to the plan, just because that was the plan back in April, is ridiculous and it's redundant. We need to be able to shift. We need to be able to be versatile, and we need to be able to see what's happening in the WWE universe and adapt accordingly. And I haven't heard one person, look, if you're out there right now, please drop me a line. I haven't heard one person say, even if they like Seth Rollins, that they think in terms of the storyline, the narrative, the atmosphere, the experience, whatever, that he should win at the pay-per-view. I have not heard one iota of support for that, because if we just take WWE as a narrative, as a piece of storytelling, that's the cool story. This crazy psychopath arrived in the WWE, he made his way to the top, and then he won the big belt. Now the question is, who the hell takes it off of him? And that's when you can have some fun. No story would ever go, this crazy serial killer came, and he went to kill his first person, and then he flubbed up, and that was it. It's not a story. There's no payoff there. There's no twists and turns. It's just a letdown. It's an anticlimax. And that's what I don't want a get out of jail free card. Braun Strowman cannot be a get out of jail free card. If you want to put Braun Strowman in there and Bray Wyatt whips all their asses, I'm fine with that. To me, it should be the Bray Wyatt show from start to finish. I don't know what is going on with my voice. It's been final day, and I sit down, and it's going to go. Oh, well, we'll go until we can. Shout out to my man, Jacob Donnelly, who says, me and my friends collectively agree, that if Bray doesn't walk out as Universal Champion, we may lose interest in WWE. And do you know when you would lose interest in WWE? Mere 4 days after All Elite Wrestling has debuted on TNT or ITV4, or the Canada deal that apparently they're meant to announce soon. And we absolutely have to stay away from that. We can't. It'd just be really stupid, especially because at the moment everything is working out so well. The Firefly Funhouse skits are still cool. Again, when I sit down and I look at the wrestling world and what's trending and what's newsworthy, it's like, well, it's Bray Wyatt again, so we may as well go with what people want. There is some interest about the Raw and SmackDown sets changing, them becoming their own shows, but it fails in comparison to The Fiend, who is the most interesting thing in WWE right now. Not all of wrestling, it depends what you like. New Japan are doing their own stuff, obviously AEW, MW. But in WWE, he is the most interesting part of all of that, which means pull the trigger, go all in. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, they had organic rises. Not saying The Fiend and Bray Wyatt is going to become that, but I don't know. We will see. We will see what they do. But in terms of this episode of Raw, great start, great middle, great end, all with the Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman tying it together. I liked Rey Mysterio winning the Fatal 5-Way to become the number one contender for Seth Rollins, because again, for me, this is another thread where The Fiend has taken over the WWE. That match doesn't finish. Have Bray Wyatt interrupt and have him take out Rey Mysterio. That's another picture for his wall. And then that's a really cool wall, right? Then you actually start to see the devastation he's had on the company. He took out Kane, he took out Jerry Lawler, he took out Kurt Angle, took out Mick Foley, took out Finn Balor. I think that's it. There's probably somebody else. That is a who's who. You've kind of got past, present, or future too. And I think that, that works. And to me, if you are able to have him come out the other side of Hell in a Cell with a title, put him against The Undertaker at Survivor Series. Tie into that whole 11-19 stuff. And then have Bray Wyatt win again. We'll forget The Undertaker even lost at one point because he's The Undertaker, but we'll always remember that Bray Wyatt got the victory. And if he can take out Rey Mysterio during that as well, who's also a legend, I just think we're ticking all the right boxes and we're using people's worth and we're passing it across to a guy. I mean, how old is Bray Wyatt? Oh, my wires are getting tied up. I don't think Bray Wyatt, it's not like, he's past it. I'd say if anything, this is his prime. This is his peak. He's 32 years old, for goodness sake. This is the time. This is the absolute time to make sure that... So I just typed in Bray Wyatt. WWE company makes an embarrassing botch with Bray Wyatt after Raw goes off air. I'm not going to say who this is until I read. After Wyatt attacked the Monster One man and laid the big man down, he turned his attention to Seth Rollins. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. As we can see, Wyatt completely no-sold Rollins' completed curb stomps and stood tall even after the former WWE champion gave it all. What's this? Right, okay, so let me talk about that first. So yes, if you go out there and you can find the clip of what happened after Raw, it is really cool. Seth Rollins continued to curb stomp Bray Wyatt over and over again, and he kept getting up, and I liked that instantly. I was like, do that in the match and we'll be fine. However, apparently, I've listened to the Wrestling Observer today, but apparently, as per the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer stated that he loved the finish of Raw and revealed an interesting botch took place after this segment. He revealed he heard from what people in the building was absolutely comical. He stated that after Wyatt was done with Rollins, the lights went out and Rollins acted perplexed as if wondering where the Fiend had vanished to. However, due to the fact that enough lights were still on at the time, fuck off. Excuse my language. Apparently some people saw Bray Wyatt run away. What a waste of my time reading that article. Of course he ran away. He doesn't actually have magic powers. Give them a break. That's not a botch. That's just live performance. I swear, man. Sometimes we go too far. Scorpio85 in the super chat says, "Hey, what's up, Simon? The future of wrestling." Well, Scorpio, that is high praise. I don't know whether I am the future of wrestling, but I'll take it. Otherwise, what's up? Not a lot, my friend. Just here chatting about wrestling, talking about my own wrestling career. This Friday in Luton, if you're heading down to Castlefest, UPW is running a show during Castlefest, and I'm on the Friday night. So if you're in the Bedfordshire area, or you're already going to Castlefest because there's bands and who knows what else, make sure you come check it out. I'm looking forward to that. My hometown, Luton. Miller's coming back. Shout out to John Morelli in the super chat. And again, if you have just joined, you got a question, you got a statement, you want to control which direction the show to go, and you want to call me a bald asshole, make sure you drop some money in that super chat, and I promise I will read out whatever you write. John says, Bray needs to win and keep it till WrestleMania. Balor returns only as the Demon. The Demon is mad that Balor was beaten so easily by the Fiend and takes charge. He runs to the roster to set up a monster versus monster at WrestleMania. I don't mind that idea, John, but I think if we're going to do that, we should hold it off for SummerSlam. WrestleMania is quicker and coming around far faster than you think. And I believe that if we do it at SummerSlam, that's 1 year since Finn Balor lost to Bray Wyatt, which means that by that point, we kind of got 12 months of dominance by Bray. And then if you want Balor to win, which I personally wouldn't, just my opinion, not a big fan of the Demon, as we've talked about before. But then if you do, I feel like you've got to... you've got the Fiend / Bray Wyatt to the point where he can actually benefit from everything that's happened. And even if he does win, lose, draw, has bad storylines, good storylines, there's a botch, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he's in the upper echelon of people. He is a Roman Reigns. He's a Seth Rollins. He's a John Cena. Pick the name of the last 5-6 years that you choose. But I did enjoy the whole, the no selling of the curb stomp. I think there's something in that. That's what I'd have the match last 3 minutes. Nobody will agree with this. Seth Rollins smashes the curb stomp, nothing. Smashes the curb stomp again, nothing. Bray keeps getting up. He's too devastating. Sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3, new champ. What do we do? Who takes him down? Oh, it makes Seth Rollins look shit. Does it? I don't think it does. A non-WWE guy in the super chat says, will you ever wrestle a death match? I mean, probably not. Not that I have anything against death matches, but I'm not the youngest pup. I've got into wrestling far later than most people would, and I think I should be smart with my body and the bumps I take and all that kind of. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any kind of a career doing this. I'm sure a death match is cool. I'm sure you get a certain buzz out of it, but I don't think that I need to. Unless the situation really called from it, I'd probably use some weapons here and there. But a full-on death match, don't think I got it in me anyway. But also, I just think it'd be detrimental to, my own progression. So it probably doesn't seem worth it. But yeah, so obviously next week Seth Rollins versus Ray. As far as I'm concerned, Bray's got to beat him up. That's cool. Liked everything with Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss and Bayley. Kind of weird because it does negate the tag team titles a little bit. But as I said on Ups and Downs, again, please do make sure you check out Raw Ups and Downs today. Either, wait till I'm finished here, but you can go now if you want. It's up to you. It's your life. They don't really feel like they're that much of a focus anymore. I think I said on that show as well, it is important to know that Nikki Cross is now, I think we can officially say, an NXT success story. She got called up and she's smashing it, so fair play to her. And I do like the Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross team. I would just much... And again, I don't mind it when, Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross have got beef, so they fight. But whereas Sasha Banks and Bayley have beef with other people, I really do think Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss need to have beef with the tag team. Like, where is Kairi Sane? I know they've already lost, but where is Kairi Sane and Asuka? Where's the Iconics? I mean, Peyton Royce or Billy Kay, I can't remember, one of them was running after the 24/7 title this week. And I think we need to start building those feuds again. We need to start building those titles up, especially because the brand split is coming, and I'm starting to worry. One of two things happens. Either we kill those titles off, and that'll be embarrassing, or we have two sets of women's tag team titles on both sides, and I don't think that's, if you're going to continue to treat it like this, I don't really think it's going to be a strong step forward. Shout out to my man, Skillpuyo85 in the super chat, who very kindly says, I have a good feeling you're going to be a success. That's very kind, man. I hope so. I never take anything for granted, and I'll work for it, and I'll put in the time. But if I could, if I could get some kind of success out of it, my new goal is to be mentioned in the Wrestling Observer. If Dave Meltzer guy watched a match with Simon Miller and he sucked, I'll be like, brilliant, there we go, tick that box. My man Jacob Donnelly says in the super chat, the attack on Braun Strowman was my favourite personal attack because I was such a fan of the Wyatt family. Did you catch Bray yelling, why, brother, why? I didn't, but that's gimmick infringement. So I'm going to be sending papers to Bray Wyatt's lawyer. Yeah, I think that's cool too, because now it's tying into his past, right? Which it kind of was anyway. Seth Rollins kind of ties into his past. But yeah, that's what I mean about these narrative threads that are passing over and actually have some depth. You kind of get rewarded for watching the show. If you remember the Wyatt family coming together, you can now be like, oh, sweet, Bray's going up. And that's what that's what Braun did on his Twitter. Fair play to him, even though I'm terrified about where that's going to go. He was like, I'm not that boy you just found. So, he's playing up to it. And if he ever crosses paths with Roman Reigns, I think you could probably do that again too. And once more, if you have followed all of that, it's going to make much more sense to, and you'll probably enjoy it a little bit more. Shout out to Jesse Hull Britain, who says, please wish my son AJ a happy birthday. Well, AJ, my man, if you are watching, happy birthday. If you're watching later, and maybe it's a day past your birthday, happy birthday for the relevant day. But go out there, smash it, enjoy yourself. Party on down, whatever age you are, you only get to be that age once, so make sure you make the most of it. And I'm going to assume that you watch my stuff, so thank you very much for that. Otherwise, just a random bald guy saying happy birthday. But hey, that's one more happy birthday than you had before. Happy birthday to my man, AJ. What the hell else happened on Raw? Now I can't remember. Becky Lynch was fine. She did her thing. I just think Becky Lynch, less is more when it comes to Becky Lynch these days. She doesn't need to do much. I love the start to Raw, when the whole now forever nonsense was all crazy. Let's talk about Gallows and Anderson and the Viking Raiders. Now, for starters, the OC's new entrance, or Gallows Anderson's new entrance, is flipping badass. That is cool as shit. I thought I'd missed it. Has this been going on for a while? I felt like the commentators should have made a bigger deal. But the problem was, after that really badass coming together. I did have a really good match with the Viking Raiders. 4 big dudes just knocking it out of each other. I'm all good with. But then Gallows and Anderson just lost. At the moment, the OC as an entity aren't that great. Like AJ Styles, in terms of like their success in the ring, kayfabe-wise. AJ Styles went out there and won the United States title, but he doesn't really defend it. And he also got his ass handed to him by Cedric Alexander. Also didn't become the number 1 contender. I just feel like they need a bit more direction. Like, do you remember when Gallows and Anderson were tag team champions for all of 32 seconds and then lost them to Braun and Seth to do a little storyline angle there? I mean, if that's not playing second fiddle, I don't know what is. And now you've got Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode as the tag champions, and Bobby Roode's going after the Universal Championship, and Dolph Ziggler's nowhere to be seen. So sometimes it does fall apart a little bit. But I love that match. I love the OC. At least the Viking Raiders are slowly sort of climbing their way up the ladder. I've got no problem with that. If only the tag team division had a little bit more structure and a little bit more, not depth, it's got enough depth. WWE just needs to focus on it a bit more. I think it would be, there's so many good teams that would be able to tear it up. And yeah, somebody in the chat mentioned Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable as well. I tell you, man, unexpected feud of the year. Baron Corbin as King of the Ring is great. He came out with his robe and his crown. He's dyed them black. He's got a black scepter. Having great matches with Chad Gable. I don't care who that is. I don't care if it's Chad Gable. I don't care if it's Baron Corbin. All I care is I sit on my couch, my sofa, and I can watch it and enjoy. And man, did Chad Gable have that crowd. That crowd was desperate for Chad Gable to win. Desperate. Which is why, in a rarity, when Baron Corbin cheated and twatted him on the head with the scepter, that worked. It pissed people off in the way they wanted to be pissed off from a wrestling angle. It got Baron more heat. It got more sympathy for Chad Gable. As long as Chad Gable gets his big win at Hell in a Cell or whenever, it's going to be awesome. And it doesn't matter if Baron Corbin loses. He's King of the Ring. And then you've built 2 people rather than 1. But I tell you, credit where credit is due. Baron Corbin's doing all right at the moment. He's something I look forward to on Raw. And I think he gets it. I'm all right with it. AJ Parker in Super Chat says, Nikki Cross is smashing it also, lol. Nikki Cross is always smashing it. Good old Nikki Cross. But genuinely, Nikki Cross is an NXT success story. Hold on to that. Never let it go. My man Michael Kennedy is like, you know what? I don't even want to talk about football right now. Prediction for Manchester United versus Arsenal, which I believe is going down on Monday. It's difficult. Arsenal's record at Old Trafford is not the best. However, Manchester United's season right now is not the best either. I will go 2-1 Arsenal, but I am an Arsenal fan. I know, can't believe it. You hate it. It's football. But I'll go 2-1 Arsenal. I think they score goals, they let in goals, but I think Arsenal will have more momentum than Manchester United, who are obviously in a state of flux. But you never know. Football is crazy. EC3. I don't know what EC3 has done. Clearly, he's not in Vince McMahon's plans, which is very strange because it looks like Vince McMahon made him and put him in a wrestling ring. Rusev came out, just absolutely walloped him, which I don't mind. As you know, if you watch any of my stuff, I love Rusev. But it was also a bit strange because we were told in about 2 seconds that Rusev is not Maria's baby, which had no focus this week. And then you're like, okay, well, why did Rusev come out during that point just to beat up Mike Kanellis? That was never explained. But also, Rusev to come back and not really inject himself into anything major, that worries me a little bit. But again, I'm worried about the past. I don't want to get into it too much. But some people always link me to either somebody crapping over my videos or misconstruing a video that I did. And it happened recently. I can't even remember the guy's name, but I'm sure somebody will go tell him. That's how the internet works. But I did that why WWE dropped the ball with Rusev. He didn't watch the video. And he just claimed it was me crapping on the fact that WWE had dropped his return, as opposed to being happy that he had some time off and then came back. Now, the video has nothing to do with that. The video was just a career retrospective leading up to the point when he did come back and he was involved in a comedy angle. And then I would have added this in too, that he was just in a random jobber match. You'd be a bit like, are we really utilizing Rusev to the best of his abilities? And I stick by that. Not, it's not even a criticism. It's just a worry. It's just an apprehension. Where is Rusev going to evolve to? What's he going to do? Who he's going to feud with? Where does WWE see him? And it's up to WWE. It's his company. It's their company. Do whatever they want. But as a fan of his, I'm always going to be slightly biased. And I got no problem with him beating up EC3, even though there is a part of me that's like, I don't understand why Ethan Carter III gets nothing. But where does he go now? What's the idea? Maybe he fused with EC3. Maybe this is actually the start of moving EC3 up the ladder. I don't know. But if nothing else, pleasure to see Rusev back. That's the main thing. I've missed him. It was also a bit weird. Lacey Evans right now, I think Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin have kind of had similar paths. I don't see that many people moaning about Lacey Evans right now. And that's probably because she's found her right place in the card, or at least a place where people are happy with. And it's cool that she's going through the roster. It's going to build up to a big match at Hell in a Cell with Natty. I'd imagine Lacey Evans wins that, and then she does have some sort of, domination or some sort of control over the women's division. I was just a bit confused that we took Ember Moon, because I think Ember Moon can always be the counterpoint to Lacey Evans. Lacey can be your heel version of that, and Ember Moon can be your face version of that. And maybe you use this match to do it, I don't know, but that kind of puts a spanner in the works. But if Lacey Evans does beat Natalya, I wouldn't mind seeing Lacey Evans versus Ember Moon in a proper program. So don't necessarily beat her here. Maybe she comes out on Raw, does the whole WWE thing. So it was fine. That thing that Ember Moon did when she was upside down and hit her sort of modified eclipse, I thought was cool. I just didn't really get the finish. But I like Lacey Evans, and everything she did with that cop, as we talked about yesterday, I thought it was fun. And I like it when wrestling's fun. My man Jacob Nonnelly in the super chat. As soon as I heard Ricochet's promo before the Fatal 5-Way, I knew there would be a Nobody Talks Like That segment on Ups and Downs, lol. Jacob, man. I mean, you're not wrong. If you haven't seen Ricochet's promo, I feel so sorry for the guy, because he doesn't write that stuff. But he's talking about superheroes and it being his time. It's really convoluted. And again, nobody talks like that. A little spoiler for Ups and Downs. If you haven't watched it, please do go check it out. Yeah, there was two Nobody Talks Like That this segment this week, and it's just because nobody would talk like that. And it stands out sore thumb when you're looking for it. You're like, who puts sentences together like Yoda? Yoda puts sentences together like that, but nobody else does. My man Michael Kennedy, the super chat, getting right back onto wrestling. Opinions on Rusev's glorious tash. I mean, it's wonderful. If anything could have made me like Rusev more, it's a badass tash. And he does look like Freddie Mercury, which is really strange. I don't understand how that's possible, but he does. Now, I'm all for tashes. I loved Cody Rhodes back in the day. I loved it when Bobby Roode, then he was Robert Roode, had a tash. The tash is an underrated weapon in the pro wrestling scene. Shelby Lynn in the super chat says, if the slogans continue, I'm turning the volume off. Do you mean the Michael Cole slogans? Or do you mean my slogans? Maybe you mean mine. I don't know how many slogans. Maybe I do. Yeah, but if you're referring to Michael Cole being like, it's boss time, are you ready to join the raid, the big dog? You're right, because I think the problem with slogans, it's a good word to use, is they make the moment feel forced. And the best commentary to me, as loads of people will say, about Jim Ross, is he was in the moment and he made you feel like you were there with him. And that's how I want to feel. And I understand the marketing machine. I understand that WWE is a different product these days. But I always think the commentator has to be your ears and eyes. Like you're there with them. They're describing the action to you. And when it comes off like social media hashtags, much like real social media hashtags, you look at any post that's got more than a couple of hashtags, it doesn't get massive engagement because mostly people feel like they're being talked down to. And that's the same here. And I know it's not Michael Cole's fault either. He's being told what to say. He's being fed lines, but it doesn't mean that we, that we have to. You can like it and you can not like it. For me, it just takes me out of the experience. It reminds me I'm watching a television show, and I'd rather not. It's as simple as that. Before we move on from Raw, 24/7 title was just. I thought it was really, really clever. We're not doing anything different, but it feels different because now we can utilize different performers. We gave it to the female R-Truth, right? Those two have been together since day one, this 24/7 title. Carmella rolls R-Truth up. R-Truth's happy for her. There's no love lost there. You're not meant to think he's pissed off. And then who was it? Tamina. I think it was Peyton Royce or Billy Kay. I can't remember now. Dana Brooke and somebody else. They all ran out, and now we can switch it around. And I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Some people say, it's really boring. I don't think so. It includes people that haven't been used for a while. You can rest the usual. I mean, the ideal scenario would be Drake Maverick's wife, whose name I've now forgotten from nowhere. I'm really sorry, but I don't like calling her Drake Maverick's wife. It's really disrespectful. I don't remember her name, though. She should win it, and then you should tease that, but then move on from it quite quickly so it doesn't feel exactly the same. But I liked it. A nice bait and switch. Easy to enjoy, easy to understand, easy to move on from. So, someone says I've missed your others. I don't think I have. I think I missed any super chats. But I will double check. Oh, no, I did. AJ, I apologize. I did miss that. Good shout out. I've never done that before. AJ Parker in the super does say Simon. Simon says in Flair or Hogan dress up next week, of course, because they're going to be on Miz TV. No, I don't like dressing up as Hulk Hogan. I ain't going to get into it. Hulk Hogan, I find, it's just my opinion. And you can say whatever you want. People do. I usually get a bunch of crap on the line for it. It's hard to enjoy. I find Hulk Hogan stuff hard to enjoy. You know why? We're not going to talk about it. I can't be bothered with the fallout, but I do. And dressing up as Ric Flair is probably going to be too hard. Shout out to Nick C in the super chat. Says, oh, by the way, 10/10/19. I assume that's when we're doing our Patreon podcast. And again, that's one of the things you can do on Patreon. Cheap plug as it's come up. Yeah, you can come on the podcast and we can have a chat. And they start again this week, finally, after a brief absence. My man Scorpio85 in the super chat says, please bury the scripted promos, someone. There was a rumor a few weeks ago that we had moved on from scripted promos, and I don't know if they're back or not. I mean, the Ricochet one was... look, I don't mind scripted promos for the right people. Maybe Ricochet likes scripted promos, and who the hell am I to say otherwise? The thing is... I don't mean to, use my own thing. Nobody talks like that. And much like we're talking about the commentary, if people don't talk like that, you remember that you're watching a television show. And when you're watching Game of Thrones, you don't sit there and go, oh, Westeros is really fake. Even if it's for a fleeting moment, you think that Daenerys Targaryen is real. You think that Tyrion Lannister is real. You think all this is going on and someone just opened up a window for you to look through. It's why when the last season didn't appease a lot of people, they got so pissed off because they didn't like what they were seeing through the window. If at one moment they took a step back and went, oh, wait, it's just a TV show, they'd probably move on quite quickly. And, that's what's... And I know I've got nothing against scripted promos, but you could just feel the lines. And I think when you feel the lines, it takes you out. It just does. And I'll always stand by that. Otherwise than that, the AOP stuff was good. I mean, it's the same as last week. And the Fatal 5-Way was awesome. But talking about Ricochet again, I was just a bit surprised that he went out first. But he was never going to win. I never massively thought that he was going to win. So it's hard to... I mean, what kind of order? I like the finish. I think Rey Mysterio and taking out Bobby Roode, who they seem to be high on now. But I think taking out Bobby Roode... or putting Bobby Roode in that situation, having him be the last guy was good. And I think Rey Mysterio winning is good too. I got nothing wrong with either of those. And yeah, overall great episode of Raw, I would say. Really, really good. Not much to criticize. Well, there's always stuff to criticize, but usually in a jokey way. But yeah, I just liked it. When it was all said and done, I was like, I think I really enjoyed myself today. Because I did. I really, really, really enjoyed myself. And now let's get the SmackDown preview up, because I know there's a Kevin Owens segment, which of course makes no sense. Because he's banned from WWE. But remember, it is all just storylines. So we've got this is just... No, that's not what I want. Give me the SmackDown. My gosh, sometimes... WWE, your website is really hard to use. There we go. There's my preview. Yeah. So, Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns are going to clear the air, which will be interesting because I still can't figure if Daniel Bryan is going to go heel or not and team up with Harper and Rowan. But Reigns wants to talk to Daniel Bryan to clear the air, and Bryan has agreed to meet face-to-face with the big dog. This conversation comes after weeks of tension, so on and so forth. After it was revealed that Bryan's protege Eric Rowan was behind the attacks, Bryan had some harsh words for his large ally. This actually says this. Last week, Rowan and the recently returned Luke Harper even laid out Bryan, and Reigns surprisingly came to Bryan's aid. No, he didn't. He didn't come to his aid. He came to punch the guy in the face that tried to kill him. Ridiculous. Kofi Kingston is also going to have a sit-down interview. I don't mind these sit-down interviews. UFC utilizes them well, and I think the WWE's been influenced by them. But Brock Lesnar sent a beast of a message to WWE champion Kofi Kingston last Tuesday on SmackDown. Blah, blah, blah. You know what that is. Brock Lesnar's on Raw on Monday as well. That's interesting. Charlotte Flair to team with Carmella against Bayley and Sasha Banks. My word, Bayley and Sasha Banks are everywhere. Yeah, Carmella surprisingly came to Charlotte Flair's rescue last week. Is this going to turn into a big 24/7 schmoz now? To stop a 2-on-1 attack from the SmackDown Women's Champ and Sasha Banks, this Tuesday on SmackDown, Mella teams up with Flair against Bayley and Banks. How will this unlikely pairing work together against a set of former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions? Well, and also Shane McMahon invites Kevin Owens to SmackDown Live, yeah. Shane McMahon invited KO to SmackDown Live to settle the lawsuit that Owens has served to McMahon last Tuesday after being pronounced fired the previous week, yeah, so on and so forth. Basically, my man tweeted out, this is an important time for WWE and its superstars. We cannot afford to have distractions. Therefore, I am inviting Fight Owens Fight to SmackDown Live. I don't know how that's going to go. Somebody actually won me round to that storyline. We'll see how it goes later. I imagine they're going to set up his match for Hell in a Cell. And then surely Kevin Owens has got to win and send Shane McMahon off into the distance. I don't know. But I thought SmackDown's been good for a while too, apart from the Kevin Owens stuff. But again, I think I've been one round a little bit. Renee Michelle, thank you very much. Someone just reminded me. I do apologize. I hate saying so-and-so's husband or wife. They're real people. They have names. As a few people are watching as well, if you haven't smashed that subscribe button, please do. You know, lifeblood of the channel. The more subscribers we have, the bigger we can go. Other than that, there's not a lot going on in the world of wrestling. I mean, the news today is Matt Hardy turned 45, so happy birthday to Matt Hardy. We mentioned Brock Lesnar going to Raw next week. Jinder Mahal's going to be at New York Comic Con if you're going to that. There's some stuff with Impact Wrestling debuting on Access, but that was always going to happen probably in October. Apparently it's going to be Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss next week on Raw. Makes sense. It's the opposite way round to the matches that we saw. WWE has been trying Mickie James out as a commentator and potentially a road agent, so that's cool for her. Steve Austin was full of praise for Paul Heyman, said he's going to turn Raw around. And Kane's got a book coming out. Apparently there's a tag team title match announced. That's for NXT. Who's the Street Profits? We'll see that. Oh, the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era on NXT. What is going on with the Street Profits? I think it's about time we just put them in a match on Raw or decide they're in NXT. Like, I think that we've got to decide. The fact that we keep jumping around the place is quite strange. But then that's it. The SmackDown tonight will be interesting because, how does WWE approach it? Do they treat it as the end of an era because it is moving off Tuesday nights, it is moving away from USA, or do they make sure it ends with a big bang so that when you are searching for it next week and you can't find it and you realize it's gone to Friday nights on Fox, you're definitely going to tune in? Like, I think that next week is such an interesting time. We're going to have so much to talk about. And I don't know which way it's going to go. Like, I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again. If people are like, what are you talking about? I'm just speculating. Who knows what that first Dynamite AEW TV show is going to be like? Because if you're like me, you probably think it's going to be like Raw, right? You just assume it'll be like Raw, but it's probably not going to be like Raw. Maybe it's more like Nitro. Is that good? Is that bad? Should it be something utterly unique? How many people are going to watch? Again, NXT did a 1.1. If AEW does anything over 1 million, game is on, man. Even if it doesn't matter. It's their first try. They've got plenty of time to build it. You got to give them something. But people are going to jump on it. People are going to react. You're going to get the naysayers. You're going to get the whole, you either die a hero or live yourself to become the villain. That's just what people do. It's 2019. You can't get away from it. I'm intrigued. Shout out to my man Jacob Donnelly in the super chat who says, I'll miss the Shane McMahon wiggle once he is off TV. It's amazing that worked, didn't it? I don't even know. It was meant to be like an old man getting frustrated, and then it became the Shane McMahon wiggle. I like it when that stuff happens. That's the best stuff about doing videos. Much like, I guess, how it is in wrestling. When something just gets over, and you're like, absolutely wonderful. I am all right with that. Barry McHugh in the super chat says, thoughts on the Proteus title at Progress? I haven't watched Progress for a while. I know that Paul Robinson, I believe, won the Proteus title. But I'm not 100%. Let me see if I can find it out. I'm not 100% sure what it's meant to represent, just because it's one of the promotions that I'm massively behind on. It happens. The belt is called the Proteus title, and it replaced the Atlas title. Okay, Proteus was seeing Greek, notes for being a shapeshifter who could. Okay, so it's just a new title. It looks cool, and I know they had all those matches for it. Or was it a battle royal or something like that? And it sounded great. A lot of people are down on Progress nowadays. I think just because they have affiliation with WWE. But I try not to worry about business metrics when it comes to wrestling. As long as the product's good and I'm enjoying it. I thought the end of the last show they did sounded great when Dennis cashed in his title match and won with the help of Mark Andrews and screwed over David Starr in the process. I think there's a lot to that. I think it annoyed I thought it annoyed the right people in the right way. I think it was intended to do that. Okay, so because we did one yesterday and we did one today, and there's just no wrestling news whatsoever, we will round off the show today by doing whatever questions you want to ask. You can chuck them in the chat normally, and I'll get to as many as I can as and when I see them. Of course, if you ask a super chat, they will 100% be answered. And then I can send you off into the night on this Tuesday to enjoy yourselves, whatever you plan to do. Maybe you've got a little visual, or maybe you're having a little bit of a party for the last SmackDown on the USA Network. When did the SmackDown go back to the USA Network? Was it 2016? No. SmackDown USA Network. You going to tell me this? No, you're not. How could I find... When did SmackDown move to Tuesday? So it moves... This is such a waste of my time. There's just no way. I would like to find out when it moved to you. I don't know why. Why do I care about this? Let me find... No, it's not going to tell me. Oh, no, maybe it is. It's fun, isn't it? So in 2008, it wasn't. Oh, then it just stopped. This is the worst. It's not. It's a fake Wikipedia. Oh, I don't even care. Oh, wait, no, I found the real one now. I was on a fake Wikipedia entry. I just want to know... Yeah, network changes. That's what I want. Yeah, don't care about that. SmackDown moved to NBC Universal in 2010. That's sci-fi. And then the show remained on Sci-Fi to USA Network on January the 7th. So 2010. There you go. 2010. 9 years. Holy crap. Where the hell did that go? And of course, as people have been saying, yes, ups and downs will be on Saturday. Saturday. I don't know if that's going to do better or worse. Do people watch YouTube on Saturday? We are going to find out. But I mean, hopefully more people will be invested because obviously it's going to be on Fox and more people can watch Fox. Do you think Liv Morgan is coming back with Bray Wyatt? I really hope not. I think we should keep everybody away from Bray Wyatt. I think that he is a much better character by himself. And I think it's important that we do this. Thoughts on Baby Metal? Not my thing. Did you enjoy Kofi's championship reign? I like how he's already gone. He's already dead. He's already out. Brock Lesnar's already beating him. I really, really did. The best thing about Kofi's reign was it was a proper pure babyface run by a guy that got there by accident. I don't mean he didn't deserve it, but it was never part of the plans. And again, talking about what we were talking about earlier, when that happens, it's just the best. And it proves that you never know what's going to happen in wrestling. My man, Jacob Donnelly, who's going to get the MVP of today's show for supporting massively in the Super Chat. Jacob, thank you so much. I promise I'm going to take all this money and put it back on the show and make sure I do even more of these. What do you think AOP should do when they return? Don't want them to be given up on easily like they were last time. Well, this is the problem. They probably do need to go the jobber route because you can't light a fire under them too quick. So I think, yeah, come in, beat some jobbers. Then you beat Gallows and Anderson, I understand. And I would guess that we're building the Viking Raiders to win the tag titles. And then you're going to put the Viking Raiders against AOP. And that could be one hell of a badass match. Although don't forget that Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, if we ever push them as a proper tag team, they're not bad wrestlers. And I imagine with some time under their belt, they could become really, really good as a pairing. So we'll have to wait and see. Simon, do you watch any fitness channels? No, because they annoy me because I find there's a lot of erroneous information. And there's nothing worse than comments on a fitness channel. Can you give Sami Callihan a brown down right here, right now? He's probably watching and it will piss him off. Sami Callihan already knows he gets brown downs every single day. Every single day. I got a response for that too, Sami Callihan, coming at me on What Culture Wrestling, challenging me to wrestling matches. Like I'm going to say no. I never say no. I take every opportunity, even if it ends with me getting my arm chopped off. I say yes anyway because I don't want to be an old man looking back saying what if. Never say what if. Because the Fiend shouted Wyatt Braun, do you think it was a subliminal message that you will be next? That's question of the day. I hope so. I will get beaten up by Bray Wyatt. Just going to throw it out there. I don't mind being a Fiend victim. I will feel like I would have achieved something massively. It's not going to work for them, WWE or him, because everyone's going to be like, who's the bald asshole that just got beaten up by Bray Wyatt? But it works for me. So, my man Splitty Booms in the super chat, who may be brand new, I think. Splitty Booms, thanks so much. Crown sounded uninterested during the 24/7 segment. Seems like they could have all the running herd members be more involved, even if it's comedy stuff, and even if they still keep truth the center of it. No, I agree with you. I think just having a running pack has probably moved past its allotment, and I think now they should start doing something. But I'm hoping that's what we're going to do now. As long as we continue to evolve the 24/7 title, I'm fine. Last week was awesome with Kane, but you're right. We shouldn't just have a pack like a Benny Hill pack chasing. Let's integrate them into the segments. Let's make them funny. Let's make them serious. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, let's make sure they're not faceless. So I agree with you, Splitty Booms. I think that's a really good idea. Otherwise, people will get bored because we have seen it all before. But I do like the change of face. I do like the twist, the shift. I do think there's something in there. Although, yeah, 100%. It's you will get diminishing returns. I try and stay away from that phrase, but I say it all the time, like Michael Cole. How much does wrestling really hurt when there is no injury? Oh, it hurts. And you wake up every day in pain, but eventually you get used to it. Yeah, but don't pretend that it doesn't hurt. It definitely does. Do you want Buddy Murphy versus Aleister Black? I just want either on the back of my TV because they vanished. I want to see a 24/7 match like Booker versus Stone Cold at the grocery store. I'd agree. Something like that would be cool. And you could keep cutting to it throughout the evening. It would be fun. You could come up with dumb stuff. Totally on board for that. There's a channel called Buff Dudes where some of their videos are funny skits and the other videos are purely informative, helpful videos. Okay, I'll check it out. How do you think Brock's reign as champion will go? I think it'll be a success because I think on Fox, when it's promoted like a sport, and the fact that, you know, the Fox audience knows who Brock Lesnar is, I think it's a really smart move by WWE. And depending what his feuds are, I imagine it may light an ass under the Brock Lesnar character, who is now going to be on Raw and SmackDown for the first time in a long time, in a week, within 4 or 5 days, whatever the hell it is. Don't forget that. Would you ever move to the S to pursue a position in WWE? Probably not to pursue it, but if the opportunity was there, of course I would. How did you come up with your finishing move? I was doing power slams in training, and I just started experimenting with different endpoints, and it just kind of came from that. Someone has provided a SmackDown TV history. Thursdays, April 1999 to September 2005. Fridays, September 2005 to January 2015. And Thursdays, January 2015 to July 2016. Tuesdays, July 2016 till now. So there you go. We've been experiencing since 2016. So at least 3 years, and I think it's 9 years on the USA. So I tell you, man, I'm really excited for next week. I think everything's going to get good again. Look at me being optimistic, and I mean positive. I know I'm optimistic and positive anyway, but I feel good about this. I feel like we're making good decisions. I feel like we're making right decisions. Someone says, would you wrestle for NXT UK? I'll wrestle for anybody. If I can get there and somebody wants me and it's going to help me and improve me and I'm free, I'm there. 100%. Like it's a cool thing. And again, just as we wrap up, if you're around the Bedfordshire area, Friday night, come down to Castle Fest in Luton. The Friday night is when UBW is running their show. I'm on it. I can't wait for it. I was born in Luton, so there's something really cool about going back to your hometown to do something that really deep down you thought maybe you'd never do. I had that moment the other day. I was walking back from my car after a match, and I was like, man, somehow I've been able to put myself well, because I worked hard for it as well. But yeah, it's still pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to see where it's going to go. Brocky's resting for the first time on TV in a while, someone says. That's true. I think it's the first time in 15 years. So we are utilizing Brock Lesnar heavily. But hey, man, we pay him a lot of money. He is a draw. He does get people to tune in. So I think that's the best thing we can do. Do you think Bray washes those gloves between claws? I mean, I hope he does. I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure as soon as he gets back, it's the first thing he does. You don't want to touch goopy claw after you've stuck it in somebody's mouth. You absolutely have to wash the claws. Although apparently, I haven't come across this, but there were rumors, and now I kind of understand it, that Vader never used to wash his gear on a tour, and by the time he had his 6th, 7th match in that gear, everyone was like, I don't want to wrestle Vader. That stuff stinks. So, yeah, I always wash my gear. I got 2 pairs of gear now. I need to get some more. Working on some ups and downs gear at the moment, because I'm a living parody. And on that note, I'm going to thank you all very much. My throat is being ruined, and also I'm just see-through now. Why did I wear a green top? What a moron. It's a lie. Stephen D has jumped in there with a super chat who says, you should watch BTE. They had some great WWE jokes. I do watch BTE. I watch it most weeks. I think I've only missed a couple over the last 6 months. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to being the elite, though, I don't think anybody should feel pressured to do it. There's enough content on TV anyway. But no, Stephen, I promise I watch BTE. I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown, I watch MLW when I can, I watch Impact. I try and engross myself as much as possible because I think it's important. I think it's important. So yeah, look, as always, thank you so much for joining me. Patreon.com/Simon316 where you can support should you so wish. We had the super chat. Thanks to everybody who always throws money in the super chat. You don't know how much it helps. At Simon316 on Instagram and Patreon. And look, if you're here right now on my channel, just hit the subscribe button. That's all I ask. Don't unsubscribe. But, you know, it costs nothing. It's right there. I'll try and deliver you some good content. And when the number goes up, everybody is happy. And, of course, now we are finishing. If you want to head over to What Culture WWE and watch today's Raw Ups and Downs, I would appreciate that as well. But have a good Tuesday, be it the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. And I will chat to you soon. Also, frequently fly in the super chat jumps in there. Says late, but enjoy. Thanks, my friend. I enjoy you too. Always appreciate it. And, yeah, that's it. I'm going to work out. I'm going to go do something for my throat. And then we're just going to have a damn good time.